Wife Material Podcast, episode 27. Feminism took the choice to be a wife away. So it's something that I noticed. I'm all for a lot of the stuff that feminism stands for. Right? The idea of equality, the idea of choice, and it's like, I agree. I've never been against the idea. I've always, the way I looked at it, because I'm old school, women always had choice. They always could do whatever they wanted to do, whether it was within the confine of a marriage or as a single woman. Right? Because think about it. You have to understand that in the past, there was single women. There was women who never got married. There was women who were never wives. So it's not like every woman was a wife. Right? They actually had the choice to not be a wife. They could do whatever they want. Thing is, they weren't happy. Obviously, if they weren't a wife, how were they getting money? Clearly, they were working. Probably was a secretary. They probably was like a nurse, maybe, depending, a midwife, like a nanny, a maid, or something. They were doing something, whatever they felt comfortable doing, to make money. The thing is, of course, they didn't necessarily live glamorous lives, and we have a term for it. It's an old-fashioned term, like cat lady. Now we're starting to see cat/dog ladies. That's women are choosing between, cat or dog or both, or just pets in general, and calling them fur babies, and the rest. So the whole feminism thing, modern feminism, the current feminism we have now, really started being the thing it is now in 2008. That's the pattern I've seen. Before that, everything was relatively good. Everybody got along at least to a certain degree, right? It wasn't perfect, but it's definitely better than it is now. Now you got men versus women. That wasn't the case back then. But after 2008, 9/11, all that stuff, right? Things started changing, especially with the advent of the internet. So the more of this idea of equality, the idea of women being at the same level as men in life, I understand you wanting the ability to make your own money. There's nothing wrong with that. Go ahead, go make your money. The thing is the idea of trying to be equal to a man. It's like, no. It's like a goldfish trying to be equal to a shark. It's like, no, you're not going to be equal. You're different. Embrace what makes you different, what makes you unique and special, and run with it, right? Make the most of it. Like, for example, I'll use basketball, for example. If you're 6 feet and higher, okay, playing basketball is a lot easier for you. Dunking, it's easier for you. Let's say you're 5'4", okay? Not as tall as a 6-foot person. So it's going to be harder to play against a lot of other people who are 6 feet. And it'll be hard to dunk. But if you can still dunk, or you can still at least make enough shots to be able to win a game, that matters more than if the game is easy for you or not, right? It's like, you don't have to have it exactly the same as someone else, right? Okay, granted, somebody who's 6 feet tall, basketball is easier for them than somebody who's 5'4". But it doesn't mean the person who's 5'4" can't play the game. It just means they got to put in more effort. Because they have a limit, and they have to, understand that they have that limit and work within that limit and make the most of it. But, with modern feminism, just saying that you're strong, independent, don't need no man is enough. When that's not logical, you should be able to live up to those words. Live up to the idea of actually being strong. Because when men say they're strong, they're talking about physically strong. They can physically lift something strong. Or if they're talking about they're emotionally strong, that means they have better control of their emotions. They don't let their emotions control them, right? When men say they're strong. But when women say it, it's just because it sounds cool, not because they literally are strong. Now, there's some women out there that are strong, they go to the gym and whatnot. But most women that say they're strong, independent, man, tend to not be strong. They clearly don't go to the gym, among other things. Now, I know they don't even say they're smart anymore. It used to be like, oh, I'm a smart, strong woman, blah, blah, blah. But they don't even say smart no more. They'll use the word educated, which is very vague. but not too smart. Because I'm not going to go into that whole thing. That's for another conversation. So the main thing is, I support the idea of being able to choose your destiny, right? Choose your life. Want to be with a man? Fine. You don't want to be a man? Fine. But you got to know what comes with that. Comes with being with a man and with not being with. But the thing I notice when it comes to feminism is the fact that even though it's quote unquote supposed to be about choice, the choice to be a working woman or a wife, I notice that there is no education. There's no, upbringing in the household. When you were a child growing up as a female, you didn't learn to be a wife, right? You didn't learn to do things when it comes to managing a house, right? Managing a home. Before you went to school and got your education. Because think about it, you going to school, you're already going to get your education. You're already going to learn skills you can use to apply to a job when you choose to work. So you don't need to put all your effort, all your focus on that. That's normal. Everybody does that. Right? Everybody can get educated. You can go on YouTube and learn a whole bunch of stuff. You can go on TikTok and learn a whole bunch of stuff. So you don't need to put all your focus on education to do something that has to do with your education, whatever college degree you get or something, right? You just go spend the time in school, get that education, get that degree, and then go make the choice of working wherever you want to work if that's your decision. But the thing is that you should learn how to manage a house, how to be a wife, how to be a mother. There's women out here getting pregnant at a young age and like, oh, I don't know how to be a mother. It's like, yeah, because you didn't learn. So you, especially if you grew up in a house full of children, like you're not an only child, your training. That's the most important thing. It's like you didn't get training at home. You're supposed to get training. You're supposed to do chores, right? The whole allowance thing. Learn how to earn money by doing chores, homework, and stuff like that, and getting good grades so you can get some allowance, stuff like that. Helping raising, taking care of your siblings is how you learn to be a mother. It's how you learn to take care of other people other than yourself. That's how you learn to be selfless, not just selfish, right? You learn to get along with people. You learn to be more diplomatic. When people are arguing, when you see kids arguing with one another, you knew how to get them to get along because you understood both of them and stuff like that's important details. You was able to teach them right from wrong, teach them how to resolve things. These are the things you're supposed to learn when you were a child. So when you're an adult, you already have all this knowledge, experience, and practice from changing your younger brothers and sisters' diapers. That way, when you have your own offspring, because you physically have the capabilities to reproduce, when you do reproduce, you know what to do because you already did it before. You already took care of stuff. Just like the idea of having a pet. A pet is another way at a young age, not a pet when you're old, but a pet when you're young. It's supposed to teach you responsibility and stuff like that. How to take care of another living thing. Not to be selfish. One of the worst things in society, the human race, which is a disease, is selfishness. Right? We're a society. The reason why the world functions is because people are not being selfish. What causes problems is selfishness. Wars are fault because of selfishness. People hating each other is because of selfishness. Because of personal beliefs, which is a selfish viewpoint. Thinking that your way is the right way versus somebody else's way, right? That's selfishness. Wanting, stealing. What is stealing? Is you taking something from somebody else because you feel you deserve it more than they do. You don't feel like they deserve what they have. You feel you deserve it more than them, so that's why you steal it. Selfishness. The root of all evil in the world is selfishness. I'm sorry, ladies. On average, most women are more selfish than men are. Because men are providers, typically. That's our nature, so we tend to be more selfless than selfish. Not saying that there aren't selfish men out there, but we tend to be more selfless than selfish. especially when we grow up and as kids, we're taught to be selfless, to use our physical strength to the benefit of those who are less strong than us. So the boys of the house tend to do a lot of the physical labor, carrying the groceries, while the women are the ones that pick the groceries. They do all the logistics, all the thinking. They're the ones that look at the deals. Ooh, two for the price of one. They're the ones that do all that mental stuff. While the boys, we're just walking around following y'all until y'all finish shopping, and then we gotta grab all the bags of groceries and put them in the vehicle, get to the crib, take the stuff out and put them in the house, and then y'all just go organize it. Notice that's the synergy. That's the symbiotic relationship. That's what you learn when you're a kid. You and your sisters, you and your sisters, you and your brothers. You know what I'm saying? Y'all practice being men and women at a young age, so that when y'all are adults, y'all know how to be a man and be a woman, how to use your physical strength to help those who ain't strong. If you're tall, you help out the short people, right? You reach for stuff that short people can't reach for. That's a symbiotic relation. That's how we humans work together. We help each other that way. Like the thing is that, like I said, that women are not getting raised to be wives, to be mothers. They're only being raised to be an employee, a worker, right? Somebody who does something for the benefit of others, for the financial benefit of others, as opposed to the benefit of yourself, the benefit of those you care for, those who care for you. You know what I mean? Which is unfortunate. If you choose to work in the work environment, that's fine. That's your decision. But what's sad is you don't have the choice. Right? You don't have a choice between being a wife / mother, or being a strong, independent woman that don't need no man / employee and whatnot, or boss babe, or CEO, whatever. Like, you didn't have much choice when they're not even teaching you how to be a wife. They're not teaching you how to be a wife / mother. Then you have no choice. You have no choice but to be strong, independent, and not need no man. See how that doesn't sound right. There's some women out there that would like to have a balance, who would like to do the whole, work thing, but also have a family. So they want to be able to do both, and I'm not against the idea. The thing is, that tends to be pretty hard, right? Work-life balance tends to be really difficult. Because as much as your job needs your focus and dedication and attention, right? So does your life. So it's hard to balance it out when both parts of your life is trying to take more of your time. Your job is trying to take more of your time. Your life is trying to take more of your time. So it gets difficult. Now, for me, I prefer to lean towards more focus on life, less on work. Work less, live more. Right? Family, friends, my health, my well-being, my happiness. These are the things I should be focusing on and putting a lot of effort into, a lot more work into. Not my job, career. The paychecks benefit me, not the job itself. The job benefits the business in which I'm working for. Because remember, they're paying me for a service. They're paying me for labor. So it benefits them more than it benefits me. The paycheck is useful, yes. I can use that money to live my life. But the thing is, I should be living my life and spend more time living my life, less time working. But, of course, they want you to work more than live your life. So, of course, they're going to try to encourage you and convince you that working is better than being in a relationship, being in a group of people you care about, friends, your family. Like, they want you to think that a job is better. Like, okay, whatever. You gotta think, there was a time that there was no such thing as jobs. Because think about, why do you work? It's not really for the work itself. You're working for the paycheck. Paycheck so you can buy stuff, so you can live your life. That's it. But there was a time there was a time you just lived your life. You were hungry, you just went out and got food. You went to a tree and grabbed an apple and ate it. You didn't work to make, for hours to make money so you can go to somebody who already has the apples and be like, here's money for an apple. You just went to wherever, you just went and got the apple yourself. You know what I mean? You would have found a place that you're going to spend a lot of time at, right? Your own area. And then you would grow stuff there. You would have chickens and cows and apple trees and orange trees, you know what I mean? Maybe watermelons and cabbage and carrots growing out the ground and potatoes growing out the ground, right? You'll have your own supply, your own renewable supply of food, because that's what you need, right? You need to be able to eat, sleep, and reproduce, right? Because you're not going to live forever. You're not immortal. So at some point, you're going to die. You might want to reproduce so that way someone else can take over and replace you, right? But the main thing is, is the ability to eat and sleep, right? Sleep as in shelter, and eat, obviously, food and drink. So make sure you're close to a body of water and so on. So it's like, before all this advancement, technology, stuff that it was all about living just by living, right? Eating, sleeping, surviving, not dying before you get old and die, right? That was it. That's all life was. Until we decided, like, we're bored. We want to do more than just eat, sleep, and reproduce. So we started creating things. Instead of living in caves, we created houses. Instead of going around trying to grow our own stuff or try to get animals and take care of them, this and that, we started getting into the habit of, like, especially if you're like, I don't like animals. Okay, you don't like animals, but you like growing fruits. Okay, fruits and vegetables. All right, so go grow fruits and vegetables while somebody else, handles animals. And then what you do is you take most of your extra fruits and vegetables you have that you're not going to eat, take it over to the person who has animals and trade. Offer them the fruits and vegetables in trade for eggs from chickens, milk from cows. You know what I mean? That's what you need, right? You need the milk, you need the eggs, the bacon, right? You need pig's meat, right? And go from there. And that's where the barter system came from. That's where we started, we started giving each other stuff that we had extras of, so we can get stuff we don't have. And that's how society worked for a long time before, we started using money instead. It's like, instead of giving you, all this extra food I have, all this extra fruits and vegetables, I just give you, these pieces of metal or this rock that symbolizes that, you can give this rock to somebody else and for whatever you want. Instead of us giving each other items, we can just give each other rocks, right? Rocks were used as money at one time. Then we started doing precious metals like gold and stuff like that, and make gold coins, and then we created paper money and then electronic money and Bitcoin, all that stuff, right? Anyway, it's long enough of the history lesson of society and life, but this ties into why, men and women, tradition and marriage and all that stuff, comes from that. It's like, it's a symbiotic relationship. I trade you my time, my strength, right? My willingness to defend you, to keep you safe, right? And my resources, which is money, a shelter, and anything else I have. What's mine is yours, as they used to say. So whatever I can obtain, I can obtain a yacht, all right, and that's your yacht as well. I have a yacht. Go get on the yacht and enjoy. Take selfies on the yacht, like whatever, right? Because these are my resources and willing to share. And in return for doing that for you, in return you do the things that you, as a female, can do for me. Because of what you have to offer. And that's where the whole what you bring to the table conversation comes into play. Because that's important. It's like, I know what I bring to the table. I know what I can bring to the table. It's like, if you want me to bring some extra stuff to the table, just let me know what you want, and I'll go get it. But I should also be able to ask you for stuff, ask you to bring stuff to the table, be able to specify what I would like you to bring to the table. But modern women don't seem to like that idea, the idea of bringing something to the table. And it's like, And the funny thing is, most women don't even say food. It's like, you know how important food is. You know what's ironic? Among men, we food is very highly, food is up there. Food and women, of course, right? Obviously, we're men. Um, but food and women, men, you know, we get along because of that common thing we have, interest in food and women. So we talk about women, what we like, what we dislike. We talk about food. We share food. We break bread, as we say, the term is. So, you know, that's why you'll see situations where guys, who don't know each other like that, who don't really talk that much, but when you see them like during lunchtime or something, you see them talking, laughing, and eating and sharing things and stuff like that, and just getting along like they're brothers. But in reality, they're still strangers. Sometimes they don't even get to know each other's names. Sometimes they'll get to know each other's names and call each other by the names. But a lot of times, like, yo, what's up, dude? Hey, man. And that's it. We keep it simple. Like, we acknowledge that we're of the male species, but that's about it. We don't go into each other's personals because the only time we interact is at work or at whatever activity that we're at the same time, and we just focus on the here and now, right? We don't worry about somebody's past, somebody's future, because that's their personal business, right? So guys tend to be less newsy, right? Less newsy than women would be. Women, they gotta ask you a million questions. They need to know everything about you in order to trust you. Fair. That's fair. Better safe than sorry, right, ladies? But for men, we we don't need to know much, because one, we assume on average that 90% of what makes another man, a man, right? When we see another man, we're like, he probably had a similar life to mine. He probably went through the same type of bullshit I went through. So I know him and understand him like he knows me and understands me. And we don't have to ask questions because we pretty much know that we pretty much went through a lot of the same stuff. And there'll be times where we'll talk and start, mentioning stuff over our past and be like, oh yeah, that happened to you? Oh man, that happened to me too. Oh man, this and that, and the bond, it gets even stronger once you start, realizing you have a lot in common. Because again, duh, you're a man, I'm a man. Obviously, we have a lot in common. That's the way, that's logical for us that we're going to have a lot in common. Especially if you're from the same race, so you have a lot of the same culture, so you're going to have a lot of the same experiences, right? But anyway, back to the ladies, right? The idea that it's unfortunate that a lot of women don't have the choice to be a wife. There's women out there that want to be a wife. There's women that they're trying to do the wife thing, but they're not really succeeding at it. They're not really doing a good job at being a wife, even though they were able to get to the point of getting married and stuff like that, and they're trying to be a wife, but they don't have the experience. They don't have the skill set to be a wife, and being a wife is a skill set. You learn to be a wife. You're not just a wife just because someone married you. That gives you the title, yes, but that doesn't mean you have miraculously have all the skill sets of a wife. Just because you give birth to a child doesn't automatically give you the skill sets of a mother. It just doesn't work that way. It's the same thing as if I gave you $1 million. Does not mean you automatically have all the skill sets of a millionaire. No, somebody gave you $1 million. You didn't earn it. You didn't learn how to make $1 million. Somebody just gave it to you. So of course you don't have the knowledge that it takes to make millions of dollars, or to have $1 million. You just got lucky and somebody gave it to you. So it's the same thing as getting pregnant. It's easy to get pregnant, obviously, but it's not easy to be a mother because that's something you learn. Just like it's not easy to be a wife. It's easy to get married. Somebody just has to propose and you just agree, and that's it. That's easy. But to actually know how to be a wife, that's not easy. That you have to learn that. Same thing as being a doctor, you gotta learn it. Being a lawyer, you gotta learn it. Being an astronaut, you gotta learn it. Whatever you want to do, you got to learn it. And what's unfortunate is because of feminism, the basic thing that you used to learn when you were young was to be a wife/mom, in case you chose that path. Because that's the thing. Being a wife shouldn't be accidental. Being a mother definitely should not be accidental. Remember, ladies, your body, your choice, which means if you are suddenly a mother, suddenly have a child, you chose that. That's a choice. If you have a child, that's a choice. I want kids, so I would definitely make the choice of yes, kids, please. But I need a female for that, right? I need a female that's willing to go that route. So since it's her body, her choice, I wait until she chooses to say yes, and then I go to work, right? Producing kids. So that's the thing that's on my mind right now is the idea that it's unfortunate that most women don't have that option. Most women are so convinced that working is more important than anything else. Work and happiness, which are two delusions, right? Two delusional things. You know, because happiness is temporary. It's a chemical. If anything, happiness is a drug. Especially too much happiness is a drug. You're supposed to have good days and regular days. One bad day here and there, so that way you can, you know, not get too comfortable and be like, oh my god, my life is perfect. There's never any problems. No, you gotta have a couple problems here and there, because then you're not living a life. You're living a fantasy. You're living in a bubble. Um, if you don't have, a day where things wasn't going your way, or things wasn't perfect. You know what I mean? You should be hearing that things aren't perfect around you, and then you just make the most of it. And that's the thing, is how you react to what's going on around you in your life that determines your strength and your weaknesses. Once you realize you have weaknesses, always try to improve on your weaknesses, right? Um, let's see. Yeah. What else? So things is important to being a wife, because men build castles, right? They build a castle, but the woman makes it a home. She's the one that turns that that four wall structure into a world of its own, into a living space. She makes sure that every room, you know, has its own environment for whoever's going to occupy it. Like the master bedroom is going to be set up in a such way that um, benefits both the husband and wife, right? The children have their own room, and the room is, you know, it's an environment that cultivates their innocence, their childhood, right? This is where a lot of their memories are going to come from. It's from their room and their interaction with their parents and whatnot, obviously. And then in school and stuff like that. That's why it's an important environment, right? That's why it's important that you want your kids to be safe when they go to school. That's why it's important you want your kids to be safe when they're at home, right? So you want to make sure that the house is secure, that the kids are safe when they're in the house. You want you to be safe. You want your husband to be safe. So that's where managing the house, making sure that everything is working fine, that that y'all have enough food to last you for months, or at least a month. Right? Make sure there's a month worth of food to feed everybody in the house. God forbid something happens where y'all can't leave the house. At least you have a month's worth of food. You don't want to be trapped in the house and only have a week's worth of food. You're not going to do so well. That's going to create a lot of problems. So that's the importance, right? A woman's job as a wife would be the logistics, making sure that there's enough food for everybody. That everybody's hydrated, everybody's healthy, eating healthy. Don't let everybody just eat whatever they want. You're supposed to manage their diets, right? Manage their food. If your husband, has diabetes or something, you can't just let him eat whatever he wants. You got to make sure that he's eating healthy for his health so he can last long. Because his health affects the family. If he dies, then bang, that's going to create a lot of problems, right? So you as the wife definitely need to make sure that he stays, your husband is healthy, happy, and happy in the personal sense, like personal happiness, not happiness because of everything you do. So it's not like everything you do has to equal him being happy, but obviously, shouldn't make him unhappy, obviously, and vice versa. Y'all should be able to work together and get along. in a symbiotic relationship, right? As teammates, partners. But make sure that he has what he needs to be at. You know, to the stuff he needs so he can make himself happy, so he can be happy and be content and grateful for what he has. And that's another thing is making sure you're grateful with what you have, or with what y'all have, and vice versa. Make sure he's grateful with what y'all have. If you feel you need more, make sure you let that be known and try to work that out. Same goes for him. If he wants more, then he has to let you know, and y'all work that out. Try to get more. But that's the thing, is like, a woman's wife slash mother's roles are very important. These are very important roles. It's a lot like being a CFO or a COO, chief operation officer, or a chief financial officer. That's where budgeting comes in. It's where time management is. You automatically going to be the supervisor of the children, right? You're going to be the one that manages them, right? You're going to make sure that they do homework, that they take their hygiene is taken care of, that their health is taken care of, that they eat, that they help around the house, right? You want to teach them the skills, right? You want to teach them to do what you do, pick it up, whether they do it for themselves or do it for others. And that's the thing. It's very important. It's so sad to see that, especially when it comes to modern women, is the idea of thinking that cooking, cleaning is a bad thing. It's like, no, you need to cook and clean at least first and foremost for yourself. Those are two survival skills you need. You need to know hygiene, and you need to know nutrients, right? Nutrition. Learn how to cook. Cooking and cleaning is very important. And that's not just because of society. That's just survival. You're a human being. You need food. You need to not get sick. And if you don't take a bath and don't take care of your health, you're going to get sick. It's going to happen. So cooking and cleaning are very important skills for everybody to have, both men and women. The thing is that women always appreciated it. They always understood it. They always made it where that was important. If anything, it was always women telling men how important cooking and cleaning was. But that's why it's ironic now in 2022, men are telling women the importance of cooking and cleaning. And most men nowadays, like I'll say 80% of men, cook and clean. Right? But that's why it's so ironic. But here's the thing. About 20% of women cook and clean. Which means there's about 80% of women that don't cook and clean. That seems very suspicious. From my time, because I'm old, right? From my time, women's rooms, females' rooms, were always way cleaner, way more organized than the boys' rooms. The boys' rooms were always the ones that were messy. And that's why it's unfortunate to see the females nowadays, their rooms being a total mess. I'm like, damn, something's wrong here. This is not normal. And that's the thing, is like clearly there's stuff missing. There's something missing. It's kind of like an iPhone where suddenly the headphone jack is missing or the battery's missing for some strange reason. It's like, imagine getting a new iPhone and it's missing something. That's what it is. That's how most guys see women, modern women nowadays. It's like, can you cook? And they'll be like, no. It's like, damn, something's missing. Do you clean? No. Okay. Are you good with money? Yeah. Whenever I have money, I spend it. Like, that's not good. That's not good. Because if I gave you $1 million, you're just going to spend $1 million, right? Instead of making the money last long. Spending $1 million in 10, 20 years, that's reasonable. But spending $1 million in a week, that's not reasonable. So no, you're not good with money. That's the thing. Some people literally think they're good with money just because they spend it. It's like, yeah, I'm good at, finding deals and bargains and buying this, that, and third. It's like, yeah, you do get a lot out of the money you have. The problem is that you're spending too much of the money. I'd rather you pay less, get more, right? So spend less money and get more stuff. right? So spend $100 and get like $200 to $300 worth of stuff. Like that's what that's good money management. Um, it's not good money management to spend $1,000 on $1,000 worth of stuff, or $1,000 on stuff that looks like it was like $20 worth of stuff. It's like, why does it look like you bought $20 worth of stuff but you spent $1,000? That's not good. Hey, look, I bought this purse. Yeah, how much that purse cost? $10,000. $10,000 for a purse. A purse. That's ridiculous. But that's you know the society we're currently in right now, where people are literally convinced that a bag, a small item like that, is worth $10,000. I understand if that was Jesus Christ's purse or something, or his mom's purse, Virgin Mary's purse. Like, I understand if that was her purse and it'd be like 10,000, maybe $10 million. I can understand that, but really, something that was created like 2 years ago, you're gonna spend $10,000 on, and it's just a purse, but whatever. Teach their own, however way they want to spend their money. I'm just saying that that's not logical, honestly, right? But time management, the importance of managing time, you know, making because women nowadays, I notice, I hear that they hate the idea of like, but cooking, cleaning, that's gonna take so long, blah blah blah. It's like, wait, you think that when you become a wife, you're gonna suddenly be living in the year 1920 or something like that, where cooking and cleaning took a lot of time because you don't have microwaves, Uber Eats, TV dinners, microwavable dinners, air fryer. That's the new thing. So I'm gonna have to make a habit of using the word air fryer because that's the new hotness right now. Air fryers, like, dishwashing machines, little Roombas that they clean clean the floor for you. Like, men have created all this technology that makes the job of one. Men created stuff that makes men's job easier, right? We created a whole bunch of machines, robotics. That's why we got robots doing factory work and stuff like that. Created stuff that makes men work easier, right? Of course, we were going to do the same for women. Of course, we're going to create washing machines. That way, the wife isn't the washing machine, right? Or the dishwasher, right? Because women used to be the dishwasher, right? They're the ones who physically had to wash the dishes. But now you can just put it in a dishwasher. Or paper plates. We created paper plates, right? Like I said, air fryer. You used to spend like hours, as they say, the term, slaving in front of a hot stove for hours making dinner. Yeah, in the 1930s, perhaps. But after microwaves were created, and definitely after air fryers and Uber Eats and stuff like that, and fast food restaurants and so forth and so forth, all these convenience of making it easy to get a meal real quick without slaving in front of a hot stove. No longer are you slaving in front of a hot stove. No longer are you working hard to make dinner, clean the house. You literally can do everything that needs to be done in like an hour. You can clean the house and cook and do laundry all in an hour. In 1 hour, you could do all of that with very little effort. That's what the washing machine, washer and dryer is for. The time you are washing, let's say it takes 30 minutes for a load of clothes to be washed, right? Put the clothes in there, turn it on, set it for 30 minutes. Go set the air fryer to make something to eat for, let's say, 30 minutes. Then go, so that's washer, so that's laundry, cooking, and then go set the Roomba to just, go around the room for like 30 minutes. And then just lie down and be on your phone for 30 minutes watching TikTok videos. Bang, there. So for the next 30 minutes, you're going to be on your phone, right? Entertaining yourself, right? Keeping yourself happy. The laundry is going to be done within that same 30 minutes. Food is going to be made within that same 30 minutes. And what's the other thing I said? Yeah, and the floor is going to be vacuumed within the carpet, right? Within those 30 minutes. So in 30 minutes, three things that normally would take what, maybe 3 hours on average, because you would take, you know, like maybe an hour to sweep and vacuum, right? Let's say 30 minutes. It will take you 30 minutes to sweep and vacuum, and then when you're done, then you go and start doing laundry by hand. So that might take you like another 30 minutes, let's say, right? And then another 30 minutes after that to go, to start cooking and make food. Prep prep the food and then cook it. So that could take you up to 2 hours. Up to 2 hours to do something now only will take you 30 minutes. Now, for 30 minutes, you can do so much in 30 minutes now with the advancement of technology that you couldn't do back then. So it was harder to be a wife and a mother in the past before feminism, right? Harder, but women easily did it though. And all we did as a society, especially men, made that task, that job of being a mother slash a wife easier. Even so much so now that most men don't ask too much or even expect too much from their wives. Like they don't expect their wives to entertain them all the time, right? To listen to everything they have to say all the time, like whatever, like conversation. They don't need their wife's attention as much as they would. They'll gladly get on a video game and spend hours, playing the game, so that way their wife can do whatever she wants to do, for herself. But then when it's time for both of them to get together and do whatever they want to do together, then they do whatever they do together. Vacations, romantic dinner, whatever, watch TV, do a hobby together, whatever, right? But that's why it's just so weird that it's like it's easier to be a wife slash mom now, where it's not quote unquote slavery. It's definitely not slavery. Shit. Slaves would love to have had the a Roomba that picked cotton for them. Slaves would have loved a smartphone so they can be on TikTok out there in the cotton fields while the Roomba picked the cottons and stuff like that. They would have loved all the stuff that y'all ladies have now. Y'all ladies have way better stuff now than women of the past. Yet y'all bitter and crying and complaining and being, just immature little girls when it don't make sense. Y'all have it easier now than the women of the past. The women of the past had it harder, and they complained less because they were actually strong, doing all that physical labor, the cooking and the cleaning, where they actually were using their muscles and their bodies. That's why they were mostly in better shape. Think about it. Most women nowadays are overweight. Why? Because they're not physical. They're not active. They're not physically doing anything. Women of the past were in better shape. Why? Because they were physically doing stuff. Cooking and cleaning requires physical strength. But we made it so easy to do things now that you don't need physical strength to, cook, clean, and do and take care of children and stuff like that. Because now you have all this technology that does it for you. And you would think women will be grateful. It's like, thanks men for making life easy. That I can pursue hobbies. I can pursue a career. I can do things that I normally probably wouldn't have the time to do because I'd be too busy cooking and cleaning and taking care of the kids and doing this and that, and I would have so much to do, right? Because here's the funny thing is I've seen some women online talk about, oh, I gotta work and this after and take care of the house, blah blah blah. You don't know how hard it is, blah blah blah. It's like, it sounds like you make it hard because based off of what I'm hearing, the specific details, you're choosing to do things the hard way when there's easy ways to do stuff. You're choosing to use a vacuum and vacuum when you could just get a Roomba and have it do that for you. Or you could, especially if your kids are old enough, you could get like extra little small little vacuums, like the Hoover, Dirt Devil, the Black and Decker Hoover, whatever, little hand vacuums, and have the kids help you vacuum. That way, it'd be a fun activity that y'all doing together, and it actually is beneficial for the family. Have the kids help you, do the dishes, right? That's the thing. You have kids, take advantage of that, right? Take advantage of the fact that they benefit from a clean house. Have them help you. Shit, I mean, I'm used to that. I'm used to like helping my mom clean and cook and stuff like that. Used to these types of things, Used to helping her do what she normally does. That's normal for me, but it's not that normal in this time of day. So I don't want to talk for too long. Just wanted to point out that it's unfortunate that women are not getting the choices that they would like to have. I'm not going to get into the whole pro-choice thing. That's for a different conversation. But you get the idea. It's like women right now don't have the choice between being a wife or being a I don't even know the proper term for it. They will say independent, but it's like no such thing because guys don't be going around talking about I'm independent. No, it's like I'm a man. I work. Trying to find a wife, like trying to be a husband. Like that's what we think. We don't think, oh, I'm strong, independent. I don't need no woman. Like none of that nonsense. That's some childish, boyish, incel type shit. That's not real men shit. We're like, I need a job and I want a wife and I want kids. I want that traditional life, right? So if you want to be a wife to a man like that, you're going to have to learn. You're going to have to learn. You're going to have to learn as soon as possible. The next thing that's very important, very, very important, ladies, make sure if you have a daughter, you teach her these skills, right? Teach her how to be a mother/wife. Of course, whatever she does with her life is her choice, obviously, when she's old enough to make those types of choices. But until then, you are supposed to give her everything you can possibly give her so she can make a choice. Because it's not a choice if you just be like, all right, do your homework when you're old, get a job, move out, and pay bills. That's it. It's like that's not much of a choice. You're not giving her other options. Same goes for if you told your son, just focus on work, focus on making money and do whatever you want, and never tell them about being nice to women, right? Taking care of children, like always got to learn how to be a husband, how to take care of other people, like a woman, like children, just like it's important for the son to learn self-defense so he can protect himself, of course, but also be able to protect his wife, his children, protect others, right? That's important. See, normally back in the day, we would teach boys to fight, but we teach them how to, choose not to fight. Like we teach them to fight, but always teach them how to avoid being in a position where you have to fight. But if they have no choice but to fight, then they at least have it. It's better to have and not need than to need and not have. It's better to have the skills of being a wife/mother and never use those skills, right? Than to need those skills and not have them. Just like it's better to teach a boy to fight and defend himself, right? And hopefully he never needs it, then for one day he needs it and he can't do nothing, so he just gets his ass kicked and probably end up dying. And that's unfortunate. Like let's not let the humans of the future be worse than us, right? Let's give them everything we can give them so they can make better choices and they can live better lives. Let's not be selfish and be like, no, I don't believe in being a wife, so I'm gonna teach my daughter not to be a wife as well. Like, nah, teach her how to be a wife. Obviously she'll learn about jobs and stuff like that, and independence and stuff like that, and then she can choose her path. And that's the end of the video. Podcast.